excited for everybody to be here. For those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Sarah Rodriguez. I am counsel and CEO to Titan Title. We do have monthly virtual masterminds where we are trying to bring you guys topics that are going to help you get your business to the next level. This is on top of all of the amazing CE classes that we teach in all of our individual offices. As a reminder, at Titan Title, we do business in Florida, Virginia, Maryland, DC, and now coming to you with Oklahoma. So we are very excited about that. For December, we wanted to do something a little bit different. And what I wanted to do is that in December, I've noticed that a lot of my real estate professional friends, or even my loan officers, kind of start getting defeated is maybe not the right word, but as much as we get into that holiday cheer, business kind of gets a little bit crazier. People get a little more volatile, emotional, whatever it is. And it is a little bit harder for us to stay on track. So I'm really excited to bring not only my friend, but a superstar sales coach, not only for the real estate community, but for other sales professionals, to be a speaker to you guys today. Talia is a professional sales and leadership coach for Southwestern Consulting. And just for you guys who are loan officers here, Southwestern Consulting does a lot of consulting and coaching for top producing loan officers across the nation. Talia is not only a practitioner of everything she teaches, but she is also passionate about sharing the secrets of top producing salespeople with you. She has a background in direct selling and has consistently ranked in the top 1% of her company for the last 9 years. She has recruited and led over 9,000 people to succeed effectively and ethically in a direct sales environment. She's also a certified health and life coach and enjoys serving as Clarksville Ambassador Tennessee Women's Connect, a high-energy networking organization for professionals. She brings a multidimensional approach that couples business coaching with health and life best practices so that she can help you create the ideal balance. In her spare time, she enjoys running, traveling with her husband and kids and her friends, Talia, attending live music events, and spending time with family and friends. Everybody, please turn your cell phones to silent and your cameras on and help me welcome my dear, beautiful friend, Miss Talia Bateman. Go ahead, hon.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. That was perfect. That was wonderful. And that was exactly how I wrote it. So thank you for doing that for me. I always feel a little uncomfortable introducing myself. So I appreciate you introducing me today. Okay, before we get started, I want everyone to put in the chat an emoji that would describe how you're feeling today, right? Are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling happy, hopeful? And I just want to say, I am so excited to spend the next hour with you all. It is 1 week till Christmas, and it just shows, it's a testament to your dedication to yourself and your business for showing up and like diving into this personal and professional development. So as Sarah said, I am a certified sales and leadership coach for Southwestern Consulting. And at Southwestern Consulting, we take our job seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. So feel free to just laugh with me, laugh at me. And I just wanted to throw that emoji thing out there so we can just kind of lighten the mood and then dive right in. So, okay. So the name of my presentation is called Habits of Top Producers. And we are going to do a deep dive into prospecting today. That's going to be the main theme of what we're doing, and some strategies around that for you. But I do specialize in helping people get immediate results in their business and then having sustainable success over the long term. So I always like to talk about some things that all top producers have in common. So who in here would like to be a top producer? Yeah. Hopefully we're all raising our hand and we're not just thinking, I'm okay just being a mediocre version of myself, right? And so it's such an exciting time going into 2025. So I want you all, I'm going to encourage you all to take notes, okay? And find a paper and a pen, and I want you to write down 1 to 2 goals that you have for going into the new year for your business. Okay. And as you're thinking of these goals and writing them down, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Do I have a specific plan in place in order to hit my goals? Are my goals measurable? And do I have someone holding me accountable? I know what I need to do. Do I have someone holding me accountable to doing it? So in working with thousands of individuals and hundreds of organizations in dozens of countries around the world, we have found that in order to be operating at the top of your game, so not only achieving your goals, but in order to really exceed your goals, it takes mastery in a few different areas. Okay, so what separates top producers from the average producer? On your note-taking piece of paper, I just want you to draw a big triangle, okay? Mine looks like this. Yours does not have to look that fancy. Draw a big triangle. And the first thing that we need to master to be a top producer are our skills. So go ahead and write the word skills on the right side of your triangle. Now, what are some skills that are needed to be like really amazing in your business? You can either type it in the chat or unmute and share. Okay. I can't find the chat up here. So some things that I hear all the time. Oh, there it is.
Negotiation skills is one of them.
Yes,
Right,
thank you.
this is your opportunity to talk to a sales coach. A lot of people pay a lot of money to do this. So this is for you guys. So take the opportunity and really ask the questions that you've been wanting to ask.
Yeah, I like to keep this a little interactive. So, just so it's not me talking at you, I really want this to leave you feeling inspired and thinking, what more could I be doing with my business in 2025 to take it to the next level? Right, so we have communication, systems, public speaking, negotiation skills, yes. So in order to be at the top of your game, some of those things and more skills include knowing how to approach people in person and on the phone. That's effectively, right? Asking the right questions to find and develop their need. How can you help them? How can you serve them? Being able to present with enthusiasm, answering objections. They're not going anywhere. How do we address objections? Closing, bringing your prospect to a close and asking for referrals. There is a right way to do this. And these are all technical, learnable skills that we coach in our one-on-one coaching sessions with our clients. And the great thing about these things is that they can always be polished and developed over time. So have any of you ever known someone who was like really skilled? They knew their stuff in your industry, but they just weren't motivated. So they never really did well. The next thing you must master to be a top producer is your motivation. So go ahead and write that on the bottom of your triangle. Now, motivation is not something that we're born with. Even the most highly motivated person can lose motivation over time if they're not constantly and continuously cultivating it. And there's actually a formula that we teach and coach on in order to make this happen. So I don't have a slide on this, but you might want to write this down. The formula is having a long-term vision paired with short-term goals. Let me know if I'm going too fast. Having a purpose bigger than a paycheck. Having an attitude of abundance and gratitude. And positive self-talk. And we go over all of these aspects of cultivating motivation in our coaching. So as you can see, it's not enough just to know your stuff and really want to do well. In order to truly succeed, you have to have incredible systems. So go ahead and write systems on the left side of your habits triangle. Yeah, setting fear aside, knowledge. You guys, you're hitting it. So systems, of course, you know what I'm going to say. Systems, it's using your CRM, understanding your sales metrics. Are you doing that? Are you using it? But systems also include things like time management. Do you have a time management system that works for you? Do you have a follow-up system? Are you using it? So while we certainly do a lot of sales training at Southwestern Consulting, we don't consider ourselves to just be a training company. We're not just about sharing our ideas with the world. We're about helping people truly change their habits. So go ahead and write habits on the inside of your triangle. This is your habit triangle. And the way we do this is over time through one-on-one accountability. So go ahead and write accountability around the outside of your triangle, because accountability is what holds all of this together. And we all need outside accountability to truly change our habits. So I didn't just make this up last week, last month, last year. This is the methodology of our parent company, the Southwestern Advantage. And the Southwestern Advantage is the oldest direct selling company in the nation. We were founded in 1855. We're older than the light bulb. And at that time, Nashville was the southwestern part of the country. So our name really doesn't make sense anymore, but we kept it. So our company started by bringing college kids to Nashville and teaching them how to go door to door selling books. And these college kids would have so much success with this and feel so accomplished and learn so many best practices when it came to sales that Southwestern noticed that these book kids would go on to do amazing things, like start Fortune 500 companies and do these really like world-changing things with their lives and their businesses. And so we thought we need to keep some of this training in-house. And so Southwestern Consulting is the coaching and consulting part of our company. And we were founded in 2007. And since 2007, we've changed over 22,000 lives in 17 different countries. And we have a growing team of coaches at over 175. So these are just some of the companies that we currently work with. So after, by coaching and training and learning from all of these people that we've coached, we started to notice that most of the time, anybody in an organization, like the first people who sign up for coaching are usually the top producers. They have a growth mindset. Most of the time they're doing pretty well, but they're always thinking, hey, how do I go to the next level, right? And so we've noticed that these high achievers, they all kind of had a few things in common, and we don't have time to go through all of them today. So I just want to touch on this first one because it's so important and it ties in beautifully with what we're going to talk about as far as prospecting. Top producers are students of their game. And what do I mean by that? Now, have any of you played a sport growing up that you were really passionate and serious about? And if you did, will you put that in the chat so I can see? Anybody played a sport growing up? Basketball, tennis, theater. Okay, I was a music kid, so for me it was piano. Soccer. Okay. Okay, Danny, can I pick on you for a second? Danny, feel free to either unmute or you can say it in the chat, but how many hours do you think you spent practicing soccer? Like before school, after school, travel
Like,
soccer. How many?
like total in the
Yeah.
life of it, thousands of hours.
Thousands of hours. Thank you. And Danny, what would your coach have said if you just showed up one day and you're like, hey, coach, I don't really need to come to practice anymore. I'm just going to show up for the games.
He wouldn't let me play in the game if I
Right.
said that.
Yeah, he wouldn't have let you play. And even if he would have let you play, what would have been the impact of that?
Probably sending that message throughout the team that you don't need to practice in order to play.
Hmm. And would you have stayed a really amazing soccer player for very long?
Probably not.
Probably, probably not. Right. Thank you, Danny. I appreciate
Of
you
course.
unmuting and hopping in here. Sorry for picking on you.
No, no worries.
So my question to you is, how many of us are showing up this way in our business? How many of us are just doing the same things over and over again, setting the same appointments, hearing the same objections? But if we're being honest with ourselves, we're not putting in the time behind the scenes to get better. We're not putting in the practice time to strengthen our skills and really hone our craft. So my question to you today is, what is that costing you? So in your coaching program, your coach will help you practice, drill, rehearse, stay on top of best practices in your industry, develop a rock solid closing process, help you get referrals, ask more effective questions. And that brings us to our main topic of the day, which is prospecting. So here's the cycle of the sale. And, you know, you guys do a lot of this stuff just automatically. This is what I specialize in. So the words that you're seeing here might be different from what you use in your industry, but all of our cycle of the sales are going to be the same, right? So you know what to do when you have a client, when you have a prospect. How are you going to get more clients and prospects to put into your pipeline so you can take them through the cycle of your sale and essentially close more business in 2025? I never want you guys or my clients to ever think, wow, that was an amazing closing and I just really crushed it in December. I have nothing in my pipeline for January. Right? We never want to have that sinking feeling. And so today I'm going to help you develop strategies around prospecting. Some of the things you've heard before, some of these things might be new to you, but I just want you to kind of listen with an open mind. And I really want you to be thinking about things that you do well as far as prospecting, and then also some things that you know you can work on and that you want to work on going into 2025. So our question is how? How do we become good at prospecting? So true sales professionals know that prospecting is a vital ingredient in the recipe for success. And it is one of your most important income producing activities, IPAs. I said that to someone and they were like, what's an IPA? It's the activity that you're putting into your business on the front end that you can feel confident about, that you know over time will get you results. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, but always eventually, right? You will get those results. But by focusing on the activity going into your business, that's where your confidence can grow. And that's where you can really be a student of your game and polish your skills and get better. So prospecting should be one of your daily tasks, right? Like for Danny, playing soccer was just an everyday thing for him, I'm sure. It can make or break your sales effort. And, you know, what does it really mean to be good at it? I think a lot of people, they get stuck thinking it has to be one thing or another, and they don't want to do it. The phone feels heavy. They don't want to be on social media. We kind of set these limits on ourselves. So today I'm going to give you a variety of different prospecting ideas. And hopefully one or two of them are going to just like spark some interest for you. So first of all, it's important to keep in mind that prospecting is more than just a part-time task. Like, can you imagine if your favorite coffee shop was like, oh, business was good in December. We don't need to open in January, or we don't even need to post on social media in January, or we don't need to do anything in January, right? Because they had such a good December. And I think a lot of times we take this approach with our business, right? When things are good, things are good. But when things are slow, we're like, oh my goodness, what do I do now? So being good at prospecting and developing a stamina can ensure that you will not go through those slumps in production, okay? Your prospecting efforts should be viewed as an investment in your long-term goals and future success. So if you're consistently seeking new leads, you will guarantee yourself an audience regardless of market status. So secondly, prospecting is a discipline. It won't matter how good you are at prospecting if you don't have the discipline to actually do it, right? When we're not doing enough of it, we get hung up on fewer transactions. And then the blow to our mindset is just so detrimental because we've put all of our eggs in these baskets. But when you become disciplined in your prospecting practice, you will have so much activity to focus on that it won't be such a blow to your confidence or your business if something falls through. So finally, prospecting should be viewed as a task that requires both quality and quantity. Prospect well, but prospect often. Prospecting is like fishing. Sometimes you can catch a fish on the first cast and then maybe every other, and sometimes you come home with nothing at all. And we refer to prospecting as lines in the pond. You want to put as many lines in the pond as you possibly can, okay? Funny story, this is actually true. I'm from Minnesota. I don't know if you can hear my accent, but it's never going away. But my dad is a hardcore fisherman, right? Like there's 10,000 lakes in Minnesota. He goes fishing every day. Every day. There's, in the fall, in the winter, he ice fishes, spring fishes, summer fishes. Every day he puts his line in the water. Does that mean every day he's bringing home fish? No. No, some days he brings home a lot. Many times, most often, he brings home none. And this is after doing it for years and years and years. But my point is, it doesn't matter how many fish you bring in, you'll always get them. What matters is falling in love with the process of fishing, falling in love with the process of prospecting, and making this a habit in your business, right? Okay, so some prospecting best practices that you all know: calling past clients, setting your schedule, working with referral partners, asking for a referral from every person you meet. Using LinkedIn, I feel like we miss the mark a lot on LinkedIn because it can open up a whole entire new audience for us that I think it's underutilized, to be honest with you. So we do focus on prospecting a lot on LinkedIn. And then researching prospect with internet searches. And all of these things are very strategic and intentional. And that's how we advise in our consulting and coaching. So some creative prospecting ideas. How can we get as many lines in the pond as possible? And I'm excited about what's coming next because I'm going to go over these pretty quickly, and then I'm going to pass it along to one of my clients, Cynthia, who is amazing, and she is so good at prospecting. She's going to share some ideas with you today. But some other prospecting ideas are hosting niche events. What do you specialize in your industry? And how can you bring that out into the community, right? Leveraging social media. Of course, we all know social media is the thing. We have to exist on social media. Does it mean we're converting like crazy? Does it mean we love it? Some people do. But just because you're not making Instagram Reels and TikToks and not converting, that does not by any means mean that you will not be successful in bringing in new clients. There are so many more ways to do this. So I have heard it time and time again. I don't want to post on Instagram, so I'll never be a top producer. That is not true. That's just a line in the pond. Use video marketing. The great thing about video marketing is that you can utilize this on many different platforms. So if you don't know where to start investing in your business and hiring someone to help you with this is really going to give you a big bang for your buck, because you can use the same video on YouTube and LinkedIn and Instagram and wherever you want, right? It's multi-purpose. Oops, went back here. Okay. A couple more ideas are personalized touch points. What personal touches can you put on your communication with your past clients or people in your pipeline? Partner with related professionals. Who can you talk to that you can bring in to bring more value to your potential clients, right? People are always looking for referrals, right? People that you trust. How can you connect with other professionals that might not be in your industry, but might complement what you're doing that you can refer people to, right? Like a financial advisor and an estate planning attorney, things like that. Creative farming. Are you being intentional about where you're sending your mailers or which social media groups you're in? Where do you want to prospect? For some of you, it's going to be a bigger reach. But for some of you, you might say, going into 2025, less is more. I'm really going to farm these neighborhoods in this area, in this county, because these are the people I like to work with, right? Gamify your outreach. This is really fun. These are ways that you can utilize social media to create contests and a following, things like that. I don't know about you guys, but I will do anything for a prize. Like literally, I will run an entire marathon just to get to the free t-shirt at the end. So creating like fun games with your prospects and your potential clients and your audience is a fun way to prospect as well. Virtual open houses and webinars. Of course, you guys are probably already doing some of this stuff, but webinars I really want to focus on because there's been so many changes, specifically in the real estate industry. People now more than ever, they just want information. They just want to know what's happening and what it means for them. And this is really your way to educate and expand your reach, and also tell them, why working with you is different. What makes you better than anybody else out there, right? Engage with your community, volunteer, create events, host events at different places in the community, showcase different places in the community in your on your email list or on your social media. And then fun door knocking ideas. Everybody hears the word door knocking and they just want to run away and hide. I am not ever going to tell anybody they need to door knock, but I will tell you this. In my neighborhood, there are 5 real estate agents. If one of them were to put a little basket of holiday treats on my doorstep and say, hey, happy holidays, and make themselves referable, I would keep that person top of mind. And if I knew anyone moving to the area, guess who I'm going to refer them to? Like those little things go a long way. So I'm not saying that you have to go out and do all of these. My purpose for presenting this to you today was for you to think about, is prospecting going to be, a priority for you in 2025? How can you level up your prospecting game? And do any of these ideas excite you? So I'm going to challenge you to pick one of these ideas that really excites you, and make it part of your goals for 2025, but then also pick something that scares you and that makes you really uncomfortable. because that's how we grow. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my amazing client, Cynthia Up. She is a seasoned real estate professional. She is a wealth of knowledge. And what I really respect about Cynthia is she never makes excuses. She is always trying to like increase her professional knowledge. And she is a master at prospecting in different areas. And she just always has the greatest attitude and is either learning from her experiences with her clients and her transactions, or she's just winning. She's winning or she's learning. And so Cynthia, I'll go ahead and stop sharing and then I'll hand it over to you.
Before we go into Cynthia, real quick, Talia, I wanted to say something. So, guys, one of the things that I wanted to talk about, every year I have my word of the year. And for the longest time, everybody's like, what's going to be your word of the year, Sarah? And I've been struggling with it, right? At first, I was like, stability. I want stability in what I'm doing. Then I was like, no, that's not really the right word. And then I was like, well, strength. I want to strengthen my activities, what I'm doing. And I'm like, no, that's still not the right word. And then last night I thought it's going to be accountability, not necessarily accountability just for me, but accountability also around others, creating boundaries, accountability on, living in integrity with, if I'm going to say I'm going to do something, giving myself the opportunity to do so. One of the things that I've learned in being around top producers across the country is that top producers want to be held accountable. They like having someone to say, I'm doing this, or you know what, I've tried to do this and I'm not doing it correctly. Whether it's the broker at your office, which I think sometimes we don't realize that the broker in your office can hold you accountable. They should inspire you to do more. They should teach you. They should make you want to come to the office every day and talk about, where you want to be. Your brokerage should inspire you. The people around you should inspire you and hold you accountable. Or even if it is coming to these classes, or for some of the top producers, like, one of the things that I realized in my business is if I want to play at the level that I'm playing, I need more than one coach, because I need different coaches specialized for different areas to hold me accountable and help me troubleshoot with this. I can't tell you how many realtors I know that are masters. We've talked about niches, we've talked about these things, but I realize that they don't hold themselves accountable because they get so busy in letting the world, like they react to their day instead of prioritizing what they need to do. So, Cynthia, I'm so excited to have you here, and the floor is yours.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I feel like I hope whatever I say will be helpful and inspiring. And that was a great segue for me, Sarah, because every year I pick a word. And last year, which is when I joined, or this year, the beginning of 2024, which is almost last year, my word for the year was systems. And just a little background about me. I've been doing this for really only 6 years. And prior to this year, I was at a small luxury boutique company where I started out as an agent. And then in the last year and a half, I was the managing broker for that office, which took me out of really heavy prospecting production. I was just in referral production because I was managing the agents in the business and what was going on. And I eventually realized, again, a good segue on, you've got to be around people that inspire you, that help you, that encourage you. And it's okay to switch brokerages if you need to. It happens all the time. Used to unnerve me. But it's a lot of work. And I'll admit that. And at the beginning of the year, I knew I had to leave that company. It wasn't a good fit for me anymore. And so I switched and found my new brokerage at Coldwell Banker now, which was a great fit for me. I found a good tribe of people. I'm happy. They encouraged me. I've got a great managing broker, and I went back into production only, which I was really happy to do. So coming from managing, I think you'll know if you've ever been a managing broker, it's a completely different game, and it's a lot of work. So I'm happy to be back in production. And I knew at the beginning of 2024, when I was switching brokerages, um, I'm going to need some help. I need a coach to help me think through the process of what I need to do. I had in my mind the things I needed to do. I mean, when you switch, I needed to rebrand, I needed to learn new systems, and I needed to really get back to basics, which I lost touch with over the last year and a half. So that's when I decided, I've had a mentor and a coach in the past, so I knew getting into coaching would be something that's helpful for me, and I knew what I wanted out of it. So that's why I got back into coaching. And this year going into so my word this year in 2024 was systems, because I had to rebrand. I had to set things up. I had to learn new CRM. I had to get things in place. And I really spent the year doing that. I'm an independent broker. I don't have a team. I have help with transactions, and I'm learning as I want to grow. I don't know, what's the saying, the definition of, I don't know, stupidity. That's not the right word, is it? We're doing the same thing over
Insanity.
and over and expecting
Insanity.
different results. Is it stupidity?
No, insanity.
Insanity. Thank you. Insanity. And that's kind of what I knew. I wanted to get back in, increase my production, but not just do the same things I've always done, because I knew that I was kind of stagnant where I was at. So this year going into 2025, my word is consistency. So now that I've spent my year setting up my systems, getting things in place, I need to focus on being disciplined and consistent in those actions. And something that was said, I think, I don't know if it was you or Talia or you, Sarah, that said, doing something, you just got to trust the process. Just do it consistently. And you might not have results right away, but down the road, you are actually creating results you don't see. So people are noticing you, people see you. They might not be picking up the phone saying, hey, I want to list my house, or hey, I want to buy something, but they know you exist. So when the time comes, they'll be ready and they'll call you. So that's kind of my goal in my business is putting out all those lines in the pond, like you said, Talia, and stay consistent in those actions. And I know I can improve in those. One thing I worked on with Talia this year, I'll just show you my little visual calendar. So here's my my calendar. And I swear every single day I wake up with great intentions. And by 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm off track. And it just happens. So I've also learned to give myself grace. So I am learning to be better and disciplined in what I'm doing, defining what I want to do, because I think it's important when you decide how you want to prospect. It's important for me to want to do it. I want to like it. I want to enjoy it, because I mean, life is short. We should have fun. And real estate is hard. It's not for the weak of heart, for sure. You've got discipline, and sometimes you've got some really crappy people you have to deal with, and contracts fall out, and you got to grind and show up, but it's okay because there's so much reward. So
Cynthia,
doing this,
I want to stop there for a second, because I think you've said a couple of like really important things that I want people to pause and kind of write down, or maybe even ask questions around it. So number one, I have to say, again, I want to give props to Cynthia, because she told you her story. She was in production, went into management, got out of production, and then went back into production, which I think sometimes when I hear people be like, oh, the market is so hard, the market is so hard. Have you ever been really good at something, had to get out of it, and then had to come back in? It is one of the hardest things, because mentally we know where we were, and it's sometimes really hard to get back to it, right? I do it with my running all the time. I used to run half marathons. It was great. got hurt, got a back surgery. It's been really awful. And sometimes my own mindset gets in the middle of me doing my basics that I know I need to do if I want to do that. But what did she do? Instead of sitting there and blaming the market, everything that's new, she decided to sit down and figure out what is it that I need to put around myself in order to get me to where I need to go. Is it a brokerage? Is it surrounding myself with people that are going to take it to the next level? Is it, expecting results by doing the same thing is insanity. So she sat down and had that, what I call come to Jesus meeting with herself and decided, what do I need to do that's different in order to get different results? She wrote them down, she simplified them, and then she went after it. And she keeps herself consistent by going back to basics. She wanted to master the basics and, keep growing that way. Just like she said, she needed to find ways of prospecting that she enjoyed. And I want to go more into that. But Cynthia, I felt like those were golden nuggets that I think people need to pause and kind of like really think about it, because I think it's very courageous and it shows the type of person that you are, that you had this thought process. You set yourself up to succeed by being thoughtful about how you were going to go around it. So tell
Thank
us
you.
about enjoying prospecting.
So Talia set out a great list, which is all great ideas. And from the time I started, so I started on a team and I was really trained in making phone calls. So we were trained, they had a batch of names, and these are old leads that came in from realtor.com. So I'm grateful for that first company that I started with. And this team that we were on, I was really trained in those basics of how to pick up the phone, how to have a conversation, getting comfortable. I mean, when I first started, my gosh, I don't know, I started in my 50s and didn't know what it was to pick up a phone and like a cold lead call. And that's terrifying. It's not fun. I mean, some people love it. I don't love it. But I'll reserve that comment for a second. Finding things, oh gosh, go door knocking, knock on doors, call expired, call FISBOs. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not the door knocker. I don't like it. I'm not comfortable. I'm not going to do it. I made that decision. And that's okay. It's okay for me because I have found things that I do like to do. So the things that I do like to do, going into 2025, I'm going to go back to the things that I love, which is I love to network. I love relationships. And to me, that's the key. Those are, when you build those relationships, those are easier, basically deals to put together and people to work with. They're the warm leads that you've nurtured and they grow to trust you. Now, having said that, I do buy leads on realtor.com. That is one of my lines in the pond, so to speak. I don't spend a ton of money, but what that has done over the years, and one of the things going back to that comment on making calls, I have about 400 names in this database over the years that are old leads that are sitting there that I can go back to, that, they weren't ready at the time. And in the time of the last couple of years where I wasn't being smart about nurturing those and staying in touch because I was doing the managing side, but I do have a little basket of people. So I am going to pick up the phone during what I call my lead gen time. And so those, oh gosh, what were those? The IPAs. So on my calendar, I put green. So for green, because those are my money making activities. So I know that if I do the work, that means it's probably going to lead to something, and it might not be right away. So those will be phone calls to those realtor leads that have come in. Picking up the phone, I'm interrupted all the time with a lead will come in. And, I have to stop what I'm doing because that's how those leads work. They're speed to lead usually. So I'm working on that. But I have about 7, I've defined actually 8 lines this year that I'm going to do. And I can share those with you if you want, if anyone wants to know, but it is stuff that I've chosen that I enjoy doing and I know I'm going to do it. And that's kind of key to me. But I know how my mind works. The phone is heavy. It can be really heavy sometimes to pick up, and I don't always want to. So, but I will pick up a phone to make a coffee date with someone. Maybe it's a past client. That's a fun that's a fun phone call to make. Those are easier. It doesn't always have to be the cold, hey, you came in 3 years ago on my site, or whatever you want to say and talk about. So the things I'm doing, I worked this year on getting my systems automated. So one thing that's important I'm trying to do next year is work smarter, not harder. So with the CRM that I had to learn at work and put all those names in and categorize and define what kind of drip plan I want them on, I'm almost done with that. By the end of the year, I'll be done. And at the end of the year is coming fast. So I'm kind of freaked out a little bit, but it's going to be okay. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to be okay with it. So anything I can do to automate them, all those leads and past clients, they'll be on their own drip system, and the touch system that I plan on doing, setting up for past clients, whether that'll include a variety of ways. So it'll have a newsletter, which is generic pretty much. But it'll also include pop buys, and I do 2 events a year for them, and just try and stay in community. And not all clients want to stay in touch, but you know what, until they tell me to stop, I'm going to include everybody and stay the course, trust the process, and be consistent in my actions. The other thing I'm going to start new, which I haven't done, and I've started, but on the networking side, which I like. So we moved into a neighborhood 5 years ago, right at COVID, and I'm on acreage. So we're in 5 to 10 acres, which is everyone's spread out. It's not as easy to get in touch with people, but in the last year, we've made an effort to get out and meet our neighbors and have someone over, meet a few, have people over for a coffee or dinner or whatever that means. But I'm building those relationships and networking. So when they do get something in the mail for me, which they're going to get, they'll know, oh, there's Cynthia. She does real estate. So that's kind of my goal in that. I looked at my business this last year and analyzed where did most of my deals come from. So for me, my deals came from referrals from agents, realtor.com, which has been for me, it's been a good payout. And what was the other one? I had the relationships that I had, the referrals, the .com, and just the networking, being in with meeting people out in the community. So that is why I'm focusing. I analyzed how I did it, and I'm going to put my work and money into those areas. And one of the networking things, Talia, you touched on this, is my niche is downsizers and seniors. So I'm senior certified, and before COVID, I used to do these classes. I started a group of people that get together. So I have a team. I've got a financial advisor. I have a senior downsizer. I have a senior placement, just a whole group of people that we go into senior centers senior centers, and we do a talk. So everyone gets like 15 minutes, an elder law attorney, things like that. And it was actually really well received. However, we were doing it at senior centers. Tough crowd, the seniors. They don't want to talk about selling their home or doing anything. So I'm of the boomer generation. And so I am going to I'm going to refocus that and focus on the boomers. And we're going to hold events once a quarter. So I've got 4 events planned for next year on what does it mean? Because this whole, everything's changing. People want to downsize, but we're also the sandwich generation. We've got our parents who are aging. We have our adult children who can't afford to move out and buy a home. And we find ourselves, a lot of my clients, not most, I'd say a lot of clients are looking for homes that they can have multi-generational situation. So that's what we're going to focus on and do those talks. I'm excited about that. And that's how I like to network and get out in the community. And like in the realtor.com, I've got that line in the pond. And that one I like a lot because if I find I'm in a slump and business is low, which happens, I swear it does this. If you get a phone call, it just comes in and you get to have another phone call with someone. it does something. It builds you up and gives you some confidence. Like, oh, people, it's good to have that conversation. And it's kind of like going back to sports. Have to stay in practice with the conversations. What does that look like? That just builds up confidence, and it encourages me anyway. So, it's not always rosy. It's hard to put in the work, but that's kind of what I'm doing. And one thing I learned this last year, probably the biggest lesson I learned was clients look you up. You need to have a really good Google business presence. You need to be on a lot of sites. Get on Yelp, get on Google, get on anything out there that you can be on, get your YouTube. So, when I started real estate, there was no videos, there was no Instagram situation. And now I'm like, I got to do what? I got to make videos. And I really believe you do. I think if you want to be relevant, get on YouTube. I'm starting to build that up. That's where I had a lead come in a couple weeks ago, had a great conversation with her. She wanted to buy a home in a certain community. And the words she said really, really dug that in. She said, I saw an agent, she did this amazing presentation video on YouTube. And I thought, well, it wasn't me. So she was searching the community that she wanted to buy in. I am in Eastern Washington and in the Panhandle and North Idaho. So I work in both states, and there's a community called Liberty Lake out here. And I thought, well, there it is. I mean, they are searching on YouTube. So that's a line in the pond I got to work on. So I'm working on that. But I don't love that. I don't mind doing videos, but it's it's planning out what I want to do. So my approach to YouTube this year in 2025 is going to be, I'm going to do the niche market and be the expert of Spokane and Coeur d'Alene and show people, if you need something, this is who you call.
I love
That's
it.
kind of my plan for 2025, but I don't know. I got to stay consistent. So I got to go back to my word and put the work in.
Awesome. So Cynthia, make sure that you're putting your information in case any of our realtors or lenders that are on this have any referrals in your area. They can go ahead and send that to you.
Yeah.
We have about 6 minutes to go. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. A couple of things that Cynthia said, and let me tell you guys, I didn't even, I asked Talia, I'm like, bring me someone who's a superstar to put on the mastermind. So it's not like I talked to Cynthia and said, please say this. But in 2024 at Titan Title, we have been doing a bunch of classes, training, workshops on leveraging your CRM, using drip campaigns. I'm telling you that at Titan Title, we spend resources, time, efforts, looking at what is working for top producers across the nation to bring it to our agents. You heard it from somebody else. Use your CRM. It is the most underutilized, best, tool that you have in your pocket right now. And, I don't want to hear that, it's not working when you're not working it. Take a half an hour or 1 hour every week and start thinking and using ChatGPT to work on a drip campaign and then set it up. Automation. Cynthia, all of these things that you said were so powerful because I think that's the game changer between, people for that are in the top 10%. We do have Andres Serafini here. He's one of our realtors, and he is, he's one of the top at the NARP 250 in the nation. His numbers are incredible. I've seen him break into a lot of these niches. A niche is how you say it in English. Sorry, that's where my accent comes out. And one of the things that he always says is stay consistent. You don't have to do 100 things, but stay consistent. And that's how he's been able to build his success. Cynthia, you also talk about something else. And a lot of the things that people ask me all the time is, oh, but I don't want to do scripts. I don't want to do prospecting because I'm authentic. You can still be authentic, but do something. Pick an activity and be consistent about it, and pick an activity that is authentic to you. Even in the title business, there's so many people that have a very different sales styles than I do. I'm not an aggressive person. I don't want to be in your face. So I had to find what felt good to me. And then I needed to be consistent around it. But it's a matter of being consistent. And if you feel like you can't be consistent with yourself, just maybe looking at, tools or people that are around you that can help you with that consistency. Now, we are a few minutes from finishing. Talia and Cynthia, any tips that you can give our people here on this mastermind on, something that they can do, or maybe on mindset or anything like that?
Mhm. I have so many tips, but I'll just say a fuzzy target never gets hit, right? So go into, make a promise to yourself, a commitment to yourself to go into 2025 having your goals, really being clear about them, and also having a plan. Like making your goals smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. I have so many producers that come into coaching and say, Talia, my goal is to produce double what I did last year. And that is their goal. And I say, okay, let's break this down here. What does that mean? When is this going to happen? How much activity do you need to put in? So make the promise to yourself to get clear about your goals, and then always do something, pick something that scares you, because that's how you know you are growing. Anything, Cynthia, you want to add to that?
Cynthia?
Yeah, I think mindset is the number one. And that takes work, and it's okay. And I think if you're going to work on one thing, you've got to stay positive. I've had a lot of crappy deals this year, and choosing to learn from them and what can be my takeaway keeps me more positive for the next one. And then I wish I were an avid reader and reading all the books. I've read 2 this year, but actually they were both really good. I read, not real estate related, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger's book. I can't remember the name. I think I wrote it down. I wrote it down somewhere. It was one of his new books. I was on vacation, and it was really good defining what hard work looks like. I don't come anywhere near hard work compared to the things that he did to go out and do what he needed to do to be who he was. It was actually very inspiring, and it applies to anybody. And the other book I read this year was Gap in the Gain. And that is the positive mindset of it's about positive focus. Don't focus on where all your gaps are, focus where your gains were. And what that does is it keeps you moving forward. And one thing I think that helps me the most to stay moving in a positive way is I don't do well if I don't know where I'm going. So I have to know, what does something look like? If I have to learn something new, that is difficult for me. And that's why when I switched, I was like, oh, this is going to kill me, but I got to do it. It had to be done. So I set goals, like I set quarterly goals. What am I going to do this quarter? I need to have my Google business set up and all these things done. So then I looked at the next quarter. What do I need to do? I broke it down into incremental pieces so that it wasn't so overwhelming. So, when I did my business plan this year, I've got this is what mine looks like. It looks different for everyone. So I have my goal, I have my focus areas, and then I define what that looks like. And then next step is, what am I going to do, the first quarter? So if I don't define in these little steps, it becomes an overwhelm. So that's how I manage. That's how I manage myself. But everyone's different. Everyone has their own business and works.
I love that.
on
So
purpose.
actually, again, Cynthia and I did not plan this, but let me tell you, at Titan Title for 2025, we do want to help you guys with personal development. And we are doing a book club that is virtual, so that Cynthia from, Washington State can actually join us if she wants to. The first one is going to be January 23rd. We are reading Atomic Habits for January. And we're going to be having these mastermind discussions. It's going to be from 10 to 11 Eastern time on January 23rd. I hope you guys can join us. And it's going to be talking about atomic habits, the habits, how you get those little things that are going to get you to the next level. Everybody's invited. It's free. If you ever want to know what we're doing at Titan Title, you can look at our newsletter that comes out monthly, or you can look at our website and sign up for all of our classes. Talia, Cynthia, thank you. Thank you so much for your time, for your vulnerability, and for putting it all out there so that everybody can learn from you guys. I really appreciate everybody. Happy holidays. I hope to see you guys soon, and have a great rest of your day, guys.
Thank
Thank
you. Thanks for
you.
having
Bye,
me.
Thanks for
guys.
joining us. Happy holidays.
Bye.